All right, what's up, guys? Happy Monday. All right, let's get this chat going. Sub Luis, San, Edgar, ¿qué tal? Sub Edwin, Karen. Good to see everyone. We got Patrick in here. Anyone else's Top Step data feed looking weird? I actually have to check. I haven't even opened it yet. What's good? What's cracking? What's up, Amy? We got Bon in here. James. What up, Toby? Check live meeting Trump. Gold about to pump more, I think. Yeah, it's been moving. Let's go. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. What's up? What's up, Dylan? Good to have you on here. Got Dow Daddy Dylan. Anyone shorting NQ? I'm going to walk you guys through. I had a short trigger earlier, but it already reacted. So, yeah, it was just break even for me. There we got Greg. What's up, Greg? Harshi. Reggie, the boy. Saw you in here bright and early. So, Carlos, ¿qué tal? Diego. ¿Cómo está toda mi gente aquí de Latam? Buenos días, buenos días. What's up, Corey? The Dow father. I love it. All right, what's up, Marty? All right, guys, feel free to let anyone know that we're live. We are ready to roll. So let's dive into some things here. I'll pause the music. Okay. All right. So yeah, we got a few things. So I was looking for shorts here. We went over this on actually let me pull this up this way. On Friday, had the zone that I was looking to sell from. So we had Dow and we had NQ. Right, we had both of these bad boys here. And so we had NQ kind of get to our zone here Friday right before market close, but it really wasn't until Sunday that got closer to my area of interest, and then we definitely sold out of here pretty well. So we saw this thing drop about 150 points. The move to the upside was about 135 or change. So this to me looked like we already had gotten the reversal. Price action did also switch up, so we saw Dow actually make lower highs compared to Friday. So it looked like things were starting to slow down a bit more for NQ, for Dow than NQ. Either way, if this triggered for you, you probably would have seen a 1-to-1, a little bit over that. Honestly, maybe even like a 1.5R, but this came back around. So based on my trade management, this just becomes a wash. Nothing really crazy going on there. And then just we see the continuation. So this to me, I'm not looking for another short right now, at least not based off of this move up. So I am patient with that. Now beyond that, if we can zoom out a little bit more. We did have this imbalance left behind still from Friday on the 10th, so about 10 days ago. This here we had a nice sweep, and then everything started to sell off from here. So I do think we could see a short from this zone, and then if we peel this back as well, and we're looking at what's going on with Dow, could Dow give us a selling opportunity still? I did have a zone over here, so I'll walk you guys through this. Here was kind of this last push up on Dow before it dropped. This is actually what I was waiting for on Thursday of last week. We didn't quite get here before everything started to melt. So I totally understand. Shorts, I'm just pretty patient with them so far. So I'm not really in a rush yet. I definitely think we can clear London session highs again for sure. And then from here, taking out that this Thursday's New York session highs also makes sense to me. So we'll see. We'll just see what the momentum looks like for the shorts. Of course, this has opened really strong. So there's kind of a couple key things going on. You know, we have our 15-minute range from Friday's London session. So as you guys have seen plenty of times in the past, the markets, when they start to exponentially run, they'll leave a few pieces behind. So they'll leave some liquidity behind. They'll leave some zones that look like, okay, can this be a mitigation zone? And that's what I want to dive into here. So if we start from the low, all right, here we go. AWS had a mishap this morning. A lot of banks are down. A lot of sites are down. Okay. Yeah, definitely a great way to test patience. Not want to just dive into everything you see right in front of you. So as we're looking at this here, you want to always just like, first thing you want to really have a good idea on is, all right, where am I in like the 1 hour 15? You could always start from the top. You can go to the weekly, go to the monthly, sure, but you don't really need to spend too much time on here if you just kind of know, okay, where am I within the structure, within this range? So we're kind of in the middle on the weekly, on the daily time frame. Pretty straightforward. If we're looking at this on the daily, what we can understand here is that the market, as much as it wanted to short and to create a bearish trend, demand was just not, there just wasn't demand down here. It broke below previous lows briefly and then came right back up. So what we noticed was, despite getting below for a short period of time, there was just the overall marketplace wanted NQ, YM, S&P. They wanted indices higher. Price didn't stay down here. These positions, these orders would just get eaten up. So there was overall just more value at higher prices. The market wanted it higher. So that helps us understand that the moves to the downside are just for the sake of either clearing retail buying liquidity or incentivizing sellers to join the party here. So once enough sellers are in, then the market can really start to make its move. Cool. That's the daily. And then here we start to understand where we are in, the 4 hour, 1 hour structure. So if we're looking at, okay, well, where are we at from like this recent price action? What could get filled here? Well, we come to understand that from Friday London session, right? All we've been doing is going up for the most part. Little pullbacks here and there, but nothing too significant. And so when we're looking at where we're at relatively, we know that we're pretty high based off of our structure has been in the past. The market has already rejected Thursday's price action, so I don't really see anything else that's going to cause this to short significantly, at least not where I would get in, not that follows my system. Maybe up here, we'll kind of have to just, play this by ear. Over here, this is, if we look over to this last move, which was Friday, October 10th, Dow already kind of played out of all this. So I could see Dow just kind of continue to push. So we'll keep this on our mind, on our radar. But if we wanted to look for, like, if the market's going to give us good reversals to the upside, then we want to keep in mind what was left behind in this recent range, in this previous structure. There's a lot of manipulation, Mike. Yeah, for sure. So as we see, right, these moves to the downside here, from basically like on Dow going from 45,900 and below, these are struggling, and every time, right, they struggle to stay down here. So this could be a nice area for buys, just understanding the big picture. Same thing here with NQ and same thing with S&P. So market coming back down to here eventually would give us some pretty good reversal zones. What we want to wait for is just understanding, okay, which one out of all of these, as price approaches these levels, what's coming down with the least amount of strength. So that helps us understand and not get wicked out, because every once in a while you'll get good setups that'll wake you out. Most of the time it's because you chose the wrong asset. So as you guys notice, Dow, NQ, ES, they all move really similar, but there's a small difference in which there's moments where you get stopped out when you didn't really need to. So we'll keep in mind, like the strength in which they're moving. There's always one moving a bit more bearish, a bit more bullish, and we'll go with that. But if we're trading on the outside of this 1 hour range, then we can just wait. Toss up is down. Okay. So just wait. That's all you can do. Let me see. Check my mail here. I mean, if you don't have Top Step, then obviously do what you got to do. If you guys have any CFD accounts, must be all good there. If you have any sort of, if you have your live accounts with Tradetopia, etc., then you should be all gravy too. All right, we'll see. I didn't really get an email from them, so I'm wondering if these guys need to get on it, man. But okay, we have New York open in 2 minutes. So on the way up, though, like as the market is trending on up, are there other setups that are left behind? So for example, here we have some liquidity on NQ. This is like right before New York session and with New York session. So here created more liquidity in this imbalance. So at some point, I think we're going to get all the way down to here. I think the big thing, and maybe with what more of you are looking into, and which I also understand, is more of this recent price action. So for example, as the market was trading to kind of kick the week off, it traded down. So we saw Dow fill some of this imbalance, play out a structure, and then rally. So you see this sell-off and continuation. I think we all kind of see this here. Same thing happens here. NQ dips down a little bit and then rallies. So do we have a possible buy scenario here? Because this is where we see, so here's price action. Outside of this imbalance down here, the market's moving pretty efficient. We see a good pullback, continuation, another good pullback to here, continuation. So the market's looking pretty clean over here on Dow, efficient. This is that last push down. So you see a nice move to the downside here. Before the market continues, tries to make higher highs. So we do trade above here for a little bit, a couple hours, come back down. This then creates another form of support right around here. Comes right back up. Now we have New York open. So here we go. Things are not kicking off. And then we're trading back up here again. So is this enough to take a buy position here? Is this going to hold? So when we're looking at trades like this where, for example, here's the overall range and we're buying at a premium. So we're buying still pretty bullish within the range. This is what kind of an accumulation would look like. With these types of setups, they are slightly less probable to play out in your favor, but they can still play out. What I typically like to do for these situations is approach this with a more conservative exit. So cool, take that, either more conservative exit or you take less risk. So, half R, 0.75 R, quarter R, whatever you feel like it. But then I'll also, be a bit more conservative with my exit, catch a move, but not look to get extensions or anything like that. So that's looking decent. And then the same thing goes here with NQ, right? NQ here. The pullbacks on NASDAQ are just not as aggressive. So Dow's, for example, if you take a look at these back to back, Dow pulls all the way back. So pretty good retracement. NQ doesn't. NQ leaves an imbalance here. Same thing goes. This same one that we had seen for NASDAQ from Friday, and then Sunday kicks things off to the downside and then pushes higher. So here, and Q over here is doing this. So we got that push down. Then the continuation. So very similar across the board. These all look identical. Basically, at this point, what to me is what would give me a green light to take this. It's just going to be to wait to see which one of these works its way down to here. I'm going to be pretty conservative with this. Well, the other thing that you guys are probably noticing is the current candle. Like right now, we're just blasting off. All right, NQ just took out London session high, last week's New York session high, and it's now trading into this imbalance here now. So this could be the beginning of, here we go. This could be the beginning of a sell-off. It's possible now that it took off liquidity. So here we go. All right, we're seeing an aggressive move to the upside, took out all of these highs. Dow finally trading, right into this zone right there. Considering that NQ has all of this imbalance that it could want to push towards, I do think this makes this Dow sell a little bit vulnerable. I see both sides. So NQ just took out liquidity, and I think this looks like it's mitigating anyways. Right there. Like it just tapped into the zone. Let's see if we can see it. Yep. Literally just tapped right into this where this opened. And then this thing sold off. This is already mitigated. Mitigation at its finest right there. The exchange from buyers to sellers. Alert came in late. But that was it. Just tapped it. Cleared out tons of this liquidity. Shorted out of here. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I think this might be just a quick sell-off, and then we just kind of rally again. Look at how NASDAQ is holding and staying above this high. So I can see NQ just pushing on up again. And I wonder if we see our next short on Dow somewhere in this imbalance. So anyways, understanding the exchange of money makes sense, right? We had Dow clear liquidity, played right into here, a good rejection. That's great. What I could be open to, depending on how the market trades right now, if we were to see, for example, like look how we're starting to see NQ work its way down already. Same thing with Dow, right? Came into here, dropping. Now, this was a very, very small time frame, 1 minute consolidation for about 30 minutes. A little sweep down. The market goes back up. All right. Would you look for a buy over here? Same thing goes for this. Would you start looking for buy positions here? What do you think? Is this enough of a liquidity sweep for it to be worth it? Do we have enough demand yet? So these are things that I keep in mind. Right now, for example, NQ is ripping. Like, it's on one. So if the market, let's say, would continue and stay like this, possibly could look for a buy setup here. However, if you're not someone that likes trading, like buying so high in a range, you don't need to. All right, you can just choose to chill. Stay out. Don't worry about it. Dow right now is pushing to the upside at a much slower pace. We see NQ, like I mentioned earlier, to me looks like it's going to target these highs over here. Right around this area. And then that could lead to Dow trading upwards over here. So what we could do is we could look and see, are there remaining, buy positions up here that we didn't see before? So if I go look at, all right, how did the market rally before it dropped over here? Then we might be able to find another zone. But yeah, we see the market pick up. This is the 15th. Goes like 250 points. We ended up reversing out of this already. And this thing just rips. Like, to be honest, it just pushes one little bearish move and then it goes up again. So there's not really too much else going on here. So then, yeah, I mean, the next stop for reversals, in my opinion, I think we're going to get something beyond 25,300 and see a reversal out of here. 25,000, maybe 333-ish in this zone. I'm curious to see just like how Dow keeps pushing higher. If you guys look over here in the past, I mean, we've constantly sold out of this range. So could we see another reversal up here? Close to like 46,800. Plenty of times we've gotten shorts out of this range. Just reversal, key reversal points. 46, 8, 20, 8, 30. So do we get, considering how much of a zone we have in here, a reversal there? So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I'm not chasing this short that already went down. So it's not really, it's not really something I'm super, like, I'm definitely not shorting in here. I'm going to wait to see NQ get to here. Basically, how I'm going to choose to sell here is going to be based off of what price action looks like in the moment. I might even go half R with each. So half R over here. If we get trading back around this range, now we already got a mitigation over here with this sell-off. So selling in here would be playing out of last points of supply where we've seen support before, and also the added benefit of NQ mitigating as well. And of course, the last thing that you can keep in mind, in addition, would be S&P. So S&P could also, it actually looks like S&P is lagging behind everything else. Yeah, yes. Definitely. This might be an ES day. Yeah. So I'll show you. So if you mark up from the top all the way down to here, sitting right around the 786. So, okay, slow retracement. If you look at NQ from up here, definitely more of an aggressive move. This is almost trading at an 886 already. So S&P clearly slower on the way up, we can definitely see a quality reversal out of here. So yeah, I think for now, this is what I'm leaning towards a bit more, is getting price, waiting for S&P to trade all the way up to here, and then taking this position. Seems like the midpoint. So yeah, because of the AWS outage, it looks like Top Step runs on them. So no dice there for now. Cool. So I mean, obviously, guys, you guys can always still trade your live accounts, or if you have accounts in any other place, then obviously do your thing. And if not, I mean, one day that you, or one setup that you may miss, not the end of the world. All right. So while indices are doing their thing, let's go take a look at metals. I know, gold started to rip heavily over here. So big move to the upside. After moves like this, when the market picks up a ton of momentum, people want to, catch the top. Is there a top to catch here? Is there a sell-off somewhere, like a big buy candle, buying orders? I don't really see anything, so I'm not really looking to sell. I just see tons of liquidity everywhere. So, yeah, I'm not really in the market for any shorts. There's a couple buy orders that I like. So, again, you can work from the low and go from there. So, for example, we see a crash down here, and then the market rallies. However, does this low create more liquidity? Looks like it to me. As this continues, you see the market becoming very efficient time and time again. Here's the last push down. The market then continues some more. So you had some support build up here. One push down. The market runs, builds up more liquidity. We get another push down. Then the market runs again. So here, push down, gets up, pulls back in. So this is efficient now. And then you get the continuation. So there's definitely an imbalance right here. The market takes down, squeezes before it pops off here. So a couple different zones where you could see reversals. So you had the big sell order there. Market comes up, plays in again, then rallies. And if you compare this to silver, silver traded in here to a T, basically. Silver not as bullish by any means. Gold definitely trading more aggressively to the upside. So I see both. I see possible reversals in these zones, especially right here. The only downside to gold is the liquidity that it has on the higher time frame. So some possibilities here. Let's see how this stays. If the market crashes really quickly, if it just maintains structure and order, we'll see. Okay. So that's metals for now. Nothing too conclusive. I don't love the liquidity that it's leaving behind, and then how it's trading out of these zones. Since this zone is right below this one here, you do have the chance where sometimes these kind of do, either they trade into here, just a mellow bounce, or they just break through. So higher probability play would be the one below. Oil still pushing down. Remember, we weren't looking for buys. We wanted to see shorts out of here. So this did give a decent reversal, but the reason, and I brought this up last time, I said we need to see like solid structure in order to buy anything anywhere. So we're not getting that now. Now what we're seeing is another push down. So if we zoom out some more, all right, market keeps on wicking down to these areas way over here. So we're trading all the way down to here. And so we cleared out not just London session, Asian session liquidity, but then we broke below last week's London session lows as well. So this is a good example, especially when you see multiple session liquidity swept. So we see it clear, tons of retail buys. So we see this here. And then we get below Friday's price action as well. This instantly recovers. And now we slow down. So you see we start to slow down and move a bit sideways here. I'm definitely open to buying oil if we, kind of maintain this structure for a bit longer. And then if we get some pullbacks back over here, yeah, I'm down. I'm open to seeing this thing make another high, just take out some of these highs. Don't need it to go too crazy. All right. The highest probability exit that you're going to get is to honestly just trade within this range, not even go that far, just to take out these highs here. This in itself would be, you stick to the intraday range. You're not assuming that you're going to get the break of structure. It could happen, but if you just want high probability exit, so you actually take something home, then you're looking at a trade like this. No. So like this. And then if you're able to just even catch it within this range, you got 2 Rs, 3 Rs, no problem. Even taking it to liquidity here puts you at, basically right at a 3 R. So this setup to me looks good. Let's see if we get a little bit longer. And then the sell out of here, I think we also have some probabilities with. All right. So let me share some of these setups. Drop it in the school here. Ooh, this is syndicate phase 3 stuff. You guys will see more of that later. All right, here we go. So today's setups. All right, so we got oil. What I'll do too for oil, I want to make sure that we can take a look at this in time. So I'll play some alerts if we start to pull back. And then the other idea was, let's go trips here. Here we're looking at the difference between all 3 indices. So if I put these all together here, as you can see, NQ is starting to approach for the short. It looks like it's going to get here before, S&P gets there. So I'm going to stick to shorting S&P today. But I do need it to get up to here. And then once we're in there, honestly, I don't really need it to go too deep into this zone. As soon as we're basically right here, I'm going to take a position. And this is, trading when you're trading on the extremes on the 1 hour. This is where you can get a nice a swing trade, whether it's just a long intraday setup or something that you can hold for the day. Now, if you wanted the most conservative exit, playing into the previous structure point would be it. A 1.4 R, I'm not too in love with, so I'm definitely willing to see this thing run a little bit further. So just even playing into this previous structure that we've seen before. Over a 2R, not bad, especially going counter trend. For all we know, this might be a full trade like this. I don't need that. I'm cool with just an intraday price action. So I'm looking at something more along the lines like this. So this is more of what I'm leaning towards here. All right, so look at how Dow is just is struggling to pick up any bullish momentum. So we might see a sharp, like an aggressive drop. I can see S&P climb its way up here, and then Dow maybe look to short out of here. So I wonder if we end up getting like a push up to, because here we kind of have a little order block. Push up to here and then another drop, but we'll see. So let me go ahead and share this here. So this is indices. And then I'll do a little write up here as well. So as of 8:52, that's, here we go. Dow is struggling the most to work its way up. indicating that it could be the asset to short when it arrives at a valid zone between NQ and ES. ES definitely has a better option, is the better option for a short. 67.85. All right, so the mitigation zone at 67.85 is key for sells. We'll keep watching, and if ES is slower to rise, then that will be the sell. From what we see now, though, NQ has the most bullish momentum. For sure, staying away from selling NQ today. Price action, of course, could change all of this. Okay, there you go. And then let me add context to oil, right? This is a shakeout play, considering it swept today's sessions liquidity and last Friday's lows. Open for conservative exit on this buy. All right, so hopefully this context helps you guys understand ideas a bit better as well. All right, so we got oil. I don't think I had anything with the peso anymore. I think we shorted out of here last week, so this was just an old zone. Yeah, we already got this here. Cool. Sadly, we did not get the buy from here. Looks like maybe when it tagged into here, this already was mitigation. So the market just played out of this zone and then ran. I do see potential for buys maybe with peso later, but we'll take a look at that later on. Bitcoin right now, oddly enough, compared to indices, not pushing as aggressively, but also, hold on. So they're probably having AWS issues too. Dude, dog, pumping. Huge candle. Yo. One candle, 10%. 15-minute candle. Need that. Let's go. All right, so that's Coinbase is struggling with its data feed, but it looks like other charts are fine. But either way, just not a lot of price action so far. Now, so what's my take on Bitcoin? Well, I guess first let me ask you guys. How do you guys see? How do you guys see it? Yeah. So if AWS, when you see outages like that, basically they what are they? They're the hosts of the servers. So if they're clapped, everything that runs on it is clapped. So it's not really like Coinbase's fault, Top Step's fault completely. It's like it's an AWS issue. Posted a setup on school page. If you got time, take a look. Yeah. Let's do it. All right, you must have commented on something then. ¿Cómo estamos, Juan? What's up, Edgar? Alfredo? All right, Toby, what you got? So you got the same zone. Yes, I mean, you already heard my spiel. You sent that probably a while back, right? Yeah. So you heard my spiel. I see the setup on its own. I just don't trade like that. So, like, I do keep correlation in mind. That, for me, has made a difference. So, if independently, the markup's good. But with what I consider, I won't sell it. I would wait for a different one. But you know your system, so don't need my validation. I'm in on Dow on one of my accounts. The other two both missed me. Are you in buys or sells? What's up? What's up, Hector? How are you, bro? On the oil buy, would you like to see price break the 15-minute? That would be a different trade. So with oil, if oil breaks these highs, then now we're not even looking at a shakeout anymore. Like if the market did this, where it took the highs, it created some stability, it traded up there for, a couple hours or whatever, then we're looking for a mitigation play. So it's pretty similar. We're still looking for an exchange of money from, the sell to turn into a buy. But this is just different. This would be sending... Basically, what we want to see is that there's just demand above where it sold off from. But I would... Yeah, if it were to break above, that's also cool too. The reversals tend to happen more towards the Asian-London gap or the London-New York gap. What do you mean by the gap? There's not really a... Can you like reword that so I understand? Oh, slight profit stopped out. Brandon, you said I've been absolutely stiff this morning. Whoa, buddy. Chill. Oh, the outage? It'd be like that. All right. So when you say a gap, Asian London gap, what do you mean by that? All right. So, here's the thing. Look, the Dow is holding up pretty well. So it tapped into the zone, came up again, dropped again. So Dow is just fighting. It wants to drop. I don't have an entry though here. However, the 1 minute is starting to give a different vibe. So the 1 minute We saw momentum. So here's the higher high, higher low. We see the market take out the high and then drop. So now we're trading below here. It's choppy. That English barrier. No, I knew what you meant. I just had to I just had to pick on you. So we don't really get too much trading down here, so I wouldn't really look to short Dow early on. Yes, you saw a little sweep above the high. If it were to play out, cool, but not. I don't really. I would feel pretty indifferent, to be honest. So trade what makes sense. Trade what your system tells you guys. Either way. Not that kind of stuff. All right, my lord. I guess what I mean is, do the reversals happen earlier in the trading day, such as Asian/London time sessions, or later in the day of London, New York time sessions? So okay. I do see London reversals happen pretty early on in the session more often, but I wouldn't bet on it. So like London reversals happen pretty early on. So for example, the high on London was like the open. Across the board. Here. Now for New York session, I like if we're gonna catch a reversal for the day, I typically like to see either in a mitigation setup or the markets, sweeps. New York session takes out London Asian session liquidity, and then we see reversals. So that's what you can find a lot in common with, because it built up, hours multi-session worth liquidity, and then you can get a reversal there. Hey, you don't gotta be careful. That's funny, bro. We just like to fuck with you, Brandon. It's okay. All right, so indices, we shall wait. So we went over oil, we went over metals. Let's take a quick check-in with metals, and we'll look at some majors. So yeah, gold's starting to push down. I'm sure silver is following suit. Yeah, silver already starting to drop. You can see silver definitely with more momentum to the downside versus gold. Gold a lot slower to work its way down. But this took out the high. We traded up here for hours now. All right, so taking a look at majors. Here's Australian. Still in this consolidation range. So if we're moving sideways here, the 1 hour time frame hasn't given us a higher high. So we're technically still bearish. However, I will add here. Let's see. So here are some highs. Some more highs. So you just got a lot of liquidity here. Market's trending nicely to the downside. So I like to just draw these out, see, okay, do we have more liquidity or not? In this example, in my opinion, when we get a shift in structure here on Australian, big push down, instantly we come back up, the market comes back down into imbalance, and this sell-off squeezes before rallying. This all looks pretty efficient. So do I want to buy AUD? Not really. It looks like we already exchanged from sellers to buyers here. It didn't react aggressively right away, but we do end up trading out of here later. And we do, it just looks like liquidity. So I'm in. Let's see if we have other setups that are a bit more bullish that would make more sense. Now what we can see with the pound, which looks a bit different, the pound had a big move up here. So on Friday in Asian session going into London, we get a nice little bump to the upside, and then everything turns around. Not only that, this leaves equal highs too. So you know there's retail sellers built up in here currently in profit. If the market were to get back up to here, it would not only take out sellers, trigger buyers, and I think we can get a reversal out of this zone. So I am liking possible shorts on the pound over here. It's not too bad. And then we have this buying zone way, way, way down here. Now, make sure you guys are live. So when you're watching the stream, because obviously it matters when you're trading, make sure you're live and you're not delayed, because you might be hearing me say something when it's things have already happened. Not that we have really anything too close for now, but we could later on. So I am interested in shorts here. All right. Perfect. Right around here. Okay, so this looks like we could have something. Before I send this out, I do want to look through a few other setups with the dollar pairs to make sure we're all good here. So, all right, before I do that, let's check in here again. Okay. Yep, indices still pushing higher. Got it. Now, in this case, look at how the pound made this high going into Friday. Friday before London session opened. Euro, or the CAD pushed all the way up to here and then started to work its way down throughout London session. So CAD kind of trading in its own world. Looks like it's trading closer to AU. But yeah, really bearish these last few hours. Do we have a possible sell here? One push to the upside. The market slowly worked its way down. I don't know. I'm just not really liking CAD. Euro. Okay, so here's GBP. Here's Euro. A big move up. Market crashes. Comes right back in again. This, to me, when it comes right back up, look at how it just instantly drops. Looks like we got an exchange of from buyers to sellers pretty fast. And the market just has kept going down. So would I be looking to short there again? It's not as clean, right? We see pound here, takes the highs, then just works its way down. Euro looks like we already kind of chopped up. So I'm curious how we would work our way higher. Maybe we would get a setup, maybe not. But it's definitely not as clean. The yen, on the other hand, massive push up, builds liquidity, then just crashes down. So the yen also giving a good chart for some shorts. So I'm gonna start sharing some of these. I'm gonna make some really key notes here because it does make a difference. So okay, majors. So with GBP, and then we have JPY. All right. And then let me wrap wrap up here. All right, this already mitigated. This happened on Friday, so the reaction. Okay, so to give you some notes here. This would be looking to counter trend trade these dollar pairs. These two setups did a clear sweep of liquidity before dropping. As usual, I'd wait to see which one is working its way up the slowest. Trade the lagger situation. I wouldn't take positions on multiple USD assets. All right. Cool. All right. So indices slowly but surely just grinding their way up. S&P still about 45 points out. NQ, honestly, not too far from its zone. All right, let's see what this means for other things here. All right, gold ate that back up. Cool. Oil still moving sideways over here. Dog hitting at 002. Sweet. Ski also just took a huge pump. There we go. Anyone take any extra entries on this? You should be feeling pretty good. Same thing with Dog. If you added more to your positions, some dollar cost averaging in. I threw a few racks at this as well, and then a few more. So yeah, we're seeing a huge pump. Biggest pump of the day, at least on my watch list, actually is Ski, followed by Dog, which shouldn't be that surprising since they also took a pretty big hit to the downside. But the big one is Chainlink. Chainlink with a huge move, and that's no small coin. So glitches and power outages conveniently happen during certain times. Oh yeah, of course. I can make the numbers bigger. Yeah. Sure. Let's see. How do I do that? Here you go. Just for you. Giant numbers. Look at that. All right. There we go. And then what about the stock market? We getting anything here or not really? Webull still playing hard to get. Nothing too much crazy. Everything's pretty mellow. Apple jumped today big time. All right. Some solar stuff picking up. Robinhood up 4%. Coinbase up 3%. Lulu. Oh, Lulu jumped up today. Nice move up here. Up $10 on the day. A little 3-4% move. Okay. We'll take it. All right, so we just saw alts. Now, this is what I want to take a look at. Like, we just saw alts jump pretty nicely. And this is what I was saying. Remember, I was talking about how Bitcoin dominance needed to rebalance over here, and it came right into this zone. Right? Remember that. I said it, look, when things dump, this will be the exchange where we see Bitcoin dominance start to go back down, and we could see alts start to pick up again. So if we're looking at, let's say, like we just saw this, where's Bitcoin? Oh, Coinbase is still down. So let me look at another data feed. What about, is Binance's data feed down? No. No, it's chill. So meanwhile, Bitcoin is just chopping up. So you look at that, but you see altcoins popping off. So money pumped into altcoins. Not all of them, but definitely a good amount of them saw a nice move up. ETH pumped up a bit during Sunday, during the night. But right now, we just saw like meme coins. It looks like meme coins are getting just huge waves. No, actually, look at that. That's kind of funny. Only the two major ones that we have here are getting a huge boost right now. Interesting. Just need virtual to get resuscitated. I'll take this, man, all day. All right. Cool. So, guys, yeah, I don't really have much more else to go over. I'll make an update across the board on a few different things. Ski back up above 3 cents. Had dipped down from last week. So, if you had bought when I sent my zone in, it's kind of back around that area. We'll see if it holds it, if it breaks through. Sometimes we get things like this to happen. Aggressive exponential movement. My targets will stay the same on this. So going up on average 40, 45, 50%. It's kind of going to be the target for the exit. But yeah, this thing is absolutely picking up a ton of momentum. If you had bought during this dip, you'd be up 50% actually. So this thing's on a mission. But yeah, guys, let's see here. Random, but when I try to place order on SL1, it goes through, but on SIL1, the order gets rejected. Apex, are you doing a challenge or are you funded? With Apex, I don't think you can trade silver on Apex, if I remember correctly. Do you know about ISO 20022? Yeah, it's been around for like forever. Yeah. I've talked about that back in, I don't know, what is it, 2018, 2021, for the last like 7-8 years. Yeah, those have been around for a while, bro. It's like its own little pocket. If you want to basically, a good way to look at that is, do you believe that the market will? Well, they are being implemented, right? So it's like, okay, these are the pocket of coins that have a direct relationship with banking systems. And so those also tend to move on their own pace. Like, they tend to trade at a different, like, how do I explain it? Like, from the way I see these, a lot of times it's all of these do something similar. They squeeze about the same way, then they'll pop off aggressively, then they'll squeeze again, then they'll drop aggressively, then they'll squeeze again, then they'll pop off again. So they have pretty similar price action. Sometimes you'll see alts go crazy, and then these are kind of delayed. And so sometimes what I've noticed is you could catch a nice move with altcoins, rotate into some of these ISO coins, and then those catch a pump a little bit later on. Yeah. So, yeah. What about them though? I guess. Are you asking? Like, are they a good investment, or what's your question? Hmm. All right. I think if you wanted to add some diversity to a portfolio, yeah, that pocket of coins is it introduces something. It introduces a good variety. I know, like when I think about how I want to invest into things, I think you can look at it from a different element. So, like for example, you have you can look at your portfolio through risk, a lens of just risk. So, okay, based off of how big market caps are, what do I want to be involved in? So, like, what percentage of my portfolio do I want to be conservative, where these are, 5 billion market cap or higher? Or, okay, well, mid cap might be, a couple 100 million to a few billion market cap. And then you have high risk investments that are like, okay, things that are sub 250 million market cap, they could take a huge hit and maybe you never see it again. Or then you have like extremely high risk where you're like sub 50 mil market cap, 10 mil market cap and below, where you do have to have an edge, see some sort of narrative to kind of let those run. So that's one way where it's like a risk-based portfolio. Another way would be based off of sectors. So you're looking at, infrastructure plays, AI coins. You're looking at like layer 2 things, gaming, real world assets. And so you're ISO. So you're moving things around in a way where it's like, okay, I want to be exposed to different types of industries within the crypto space. And then that's how you're exposing yourself to like your portfolio. So you might think, okay, well, I think this is going to have a huge impact. So maybe that's where you have more of your money in. And then somewhere in between where you keep both. You have industry-based risk in your portfolio, and then within that, how big or small the market caps are. That's how you can do it. Pyth, yeah, we had a really good run with Pyth actually. We took profit, but Pyth has been. I mean, I think that's a great play because of how they're involved now in the world. So if we go back over here, who was it? They're doing. What are they putting on Pyth again? I forgot. They did something blockchain related. Was it GDP is on Pyth now or something? Right. Good take. And no, I was just looking into all that. That system will become mandatory soon. Yeah. Yeah, but also remember, some of those things are not necessarily the coin. It's also there's Ripple and then there's XRP. And those are two distinctions. So just to keep that in mind. XLM, I haven't really created a new thesis on XLM, to be honest. It's like an OG coin that's just kind of around. But I couldn't tell you with clarity. Like, I just haven't checked into what's going on with XLM. I think XLM is a part of that, no? Yeah. So, yeah, XLM is a part of this posse over here. I could see XLM because it's kind of been squeezing crazy here. I can see it wanting to take this out. But you kind of want to be mindful with these older coins because just because they've been around doesn't mean that they may necessarily like get the same type of exposure as they have before. But like, look at this. XLM had like a 3-year squeeze, and then it just woke up one day, and it just 6-7x overnight in like 2 weeks, and then obviously people got excited, so they bought here. So then this happened. But out of like this batch of coins over here, what would be the highest risk but highest reward could be IOTA, because they are kind of part of this this like little group. And then same thing with Algo. Algo also has been making higher highs. So I think Algo has potential to be one, just like a wild card where it can just go just crazy. Kind of like how H-bar did. Oh, wow, this one really took a hit. But yeah, this is like the group. Maybe it's evolved. I haven't checked in on this in a little bit. But the ones that have the highest upside potential, in my opinion, but also the highest risk, I would say Algo and then IOTA. So Algo could be one of those if you wanted to get exposure into like the ISO coins, but also not be too late. This could be the case. Yeah, Toby, I hear you on NQ. I know you want to sell NQ. I'm not gonna, but I wish you the best. Yeah, hopefully you make a shit ton of money. PayPal coin is traded on XLM. It's part of Base Network. I don't know anything about PayPal coin. PayPal, do they have their own coin? Really? I didn't know that. Is it their coin? Like their, is it just a stable coin? Oh, it's a stable coin. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Got you. All right, so awesome. YM breaking through now, taking out the highs, approaching NQ. So, Toby, your NQ setup looks like it's there now. We're getting closer. And then, meanwhile, I'm here chilling, waiting for S&P. Only 0.5% though. I need to protect my capital. Yeah, I mean, you're up a good amount. I know you said you did your year in like a month or something. So good shit. Let's go. Cool, guys. Keep an eye on this. I'm pretty much just waiting for S&P. And then if you guys wanted to take NQ, because that's what you feel like is the right thing to do it. Not my play, but do your thing. But honestly, thanks for bringing ISO back up, because looking at this algo chart, I like this one. I'm wanting to get a bit more exposure into here. I just hadn't made a choice, but I think algo is going to be the case. Going to do a little bit more research, but yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it. Beautiful, beautiful sea of profits today with crypto. Thank God, dude. Thank God. At this point, come on. We needed something. All right, cool. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I will be announcing something here shortly. So, actually, give me 1 second, guys. Actually, I'll bring it up tomorrow. But take care, guys. Enjoy. If you're new to Tradetopia and the sessions here, feel free to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You tag us online if you guys learn something new. And then if you guys aren't in the communities either, then make sure you get access to all of our resources, totally free resources on the left. Be part of the community, share your ideas, get some feedback. And of course, for those of you that have been doing this, you understand what it takes to be a trader and you want to accelerate your process aggressively. I would say you would probably learn maybe 10, 20 times faster. Then feel free to join the syndicate. At this point right now, about 40% of our members are funded within just a few months. So that's the code on the right. Scan that. That is a 1-year program. If you're not committed to doing things for an extended period of time, don't book a call. If you're interested, don't book a call. You got to really know that this is something you want to do. But anyways, much love, guys. I'll leave you to it. Enjoy, and then stay tuned in the school because, as always, we're sending out updates based on what's going on in the markets. So take care, y'all. See you tomorrow.